Whether you feel like you're up to it or not, Fragments of Silicon.
All right, welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon. I'm your host, Adam. Joining as always, our Galax and Petty fan. Let's see. Well, let's get to the news. Galax, why don't you start us off because, well, you've got news to share with us.
Well, after 3 years, I finally failed a save against the plague, so I've been down for about, well, since Friday, basically, in various degrees of just heat or chills or sneezing or brain fog. Not too bad today, mostly just lots of coughing. So I was able to run over to the office and grab my computer so I can maybe work from home going forward if I continue to feel good, although my parents have said that they felt good and then had some relapses, so I'm hoping my immune system is better than theirs.
I guess you'll find out shortly.
Uh-huh. On the other hand, we do have a dryer that works now, so that's good.
Hooray!
So I don't have to worry about waiting as long as possible before doing a wash. And let me tell you, it's no fun to have to choose between, like, going to the laundromat while probably contagious with the disease, and because I hadn't tested positive yet, but was already not feeling good last time I did that, and wearing clothes that are not machine dried and therefore have a rougher texture, and one of my autism things is clothing textures. I don't know. They announced some interesting stuff for Pokemon on Monday, which we're not going to talk about in the thing because the state of play was more interesting, but looking forward to what's to come there, and I already am enjoying my giant dinosaur Suicune and small robot Virizion.
Kind of awkward choices, but alright.
I mean, I think the biggest thing that draws home is still the robot ones. I mean, they look better in motion because they move in ways that living things don't. Like the Delibird one can pop its head off on a cord.
Yeah.
And stuff. But like beyond that, most of them just look like, oh hey, it's just a robot version of X thing. Whereas all the past ones are, okay, well, you made it into partially a dinosaur, but at least the way they've done that has been a little bit more creative.
Right.
The new Splatoon 3 season has started, and I haven't even tried to play it yet because, see aforementioned comments about brain fog, and I'm not great at first person, or at shooters in, like, anyway. And I don't want to be risking headaches more than needed. But hopefully I'll be able to do that soon. Last week we did play more Langrisser Descendants of Light with Mac, but he barely started before I had to leave for reviews, and he was also feeling terrible and couldn't talk well, so I don't know how that really went. I think that's about all I got.
Okay, then. So, Petty, it's your go.
Well, Friday I got the the Botox injections in my leg, so hopefully those help a little more than, my legs have been feeling before.
I mean, how's it been working so far?
Right now my legs kind of feel like they're bruised, which is normal after the Botox injections. It usually takes like a week or two for it to start feeling quote unquote normal.
Mm.
So yeah, Monday was my appointment to get my knee braces, well, get measured and stuff for them, because they're not like, ones you can get off the shelf at the store. These are actually custom made. So that's kind of cool. My mom works at a place called Hangers. They're kind of like, they mostly do a lot of prosthetics and like braces and a whole bunch of custom orthopedic stuff like that.
All right.
So I'm going there to get the braces. So hopefully they help, keeping me from falling, and or if I do fall, help my knee, be protected. And hopefully it also, because I'm starting to also have some pain in my left leg because I've been doing more on it because my right leg is kind of shot.
Have you looked into some knee guards?
That's what the knee braces is partly gonna do.
So they're going to be like a foam padding or something in the front?
I think they mentioned like kind of like a plate. So instead of the force going directly onto my knee, it's going to go into the brace and then into my leg.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah. And also like the braces are gonna have like spring actual, I guess kind of like a spring actuation thing to help keep me upright. So that's gonna be interesting. Um, Next week I have my shots in my knees to hopefully see if, or well, my right knee to help see if we can, save it from falling apart and ideally not need a knee replacement at 30.
Yep.
So yeah, that's gonna be fun and exciting. Um, as far as gaming goes, I've been, I guess, I finished, well, quote unquote, finished, Power Wash Simulator. It's pretty fun. And then, been playing Atomic Heart because it's on Game Pass, and it's like, God, the opening is slow. Like, it ramps up, but good lord, is the opening slow. And yeah, I think that's it from me.
All right. All right. It's my go. Okay. First thing I want to mention is we have a new giveaway going on in the Discord. We were just gifted 3 copies of the game Ad Wars before the show, and that will be running until Sunday. So if you want to claim that, well, somebody be sure to put a link in the chat here.
Yeah, I'm getting the invite link now.
You know, just follow the directions in the giveaway section of the Discord in order to have your chance to get that. And let's see, shifting to news. Um, my news is I saw my primary care physician the other day. Um, in official follow-up capacities. Both, I have to see him like every 3 months to do basically a diabetes checkup, and also to follow up because my insurance requires me to do that if I end up in the hospital, even if it's just the ER.
Yeah.
And it was about as routine as routines go. Though my doctor keeps looking at my labs from fucking August. I had to point out that no, I had new labs in November, and they were much improved. And he graduated like it was the first time he looked at them. I don't know. I don't know if it's because he has so many patients or whatever, but it always worries a little, the institutional forgetfulness he displays at times. And let's see. Next week I have finally visit the orthopedic hand surgeon to make sure my hands are doing fine. I mean, like I don't think I have arthritis or anything like
Yeah,
that
that's
nature.
my knee.
Well, it's like, I mean, I can move my fingers, just mysterious hand pains. Like I said, I think that's neuropathic pain. But we'll see what arises there. Don't know if they're going to want to inject me with steroids.
They'd probably get X-rays and stuff first before they do anything with injections.
That's what I imagine, though I believe like the insurance window on that, at least on the steroid injections, are running out. But I'm sure that can be renewed.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
Yeah. And in terms of games, ended up bouncing from Dead Space 2. Like, I think I have the same problem Rayavik had with that game. Like, it's high quality, but I don't know, it didn't click with me. I think it's because I just like the Ishimura of Dead Space 1 a lot more than the space station. Like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, the controls were a bit awkward and clumsy, but it's something in the mold of Resident Evil 4, so that was expected. Tried some Dead Templar, one of those boomer shooters. Bounced from that pretty quickly because, oh god, I hated the save system. Like, okay, you've got this 90s FPS throwback here, and you have a save system from a goddamn PS1 JRPG. I'm literally going to fucking glowing save crystals to save.
Yeah, that's one of the issues I'm having with Atomic Heart.
Yeah, no. I am not fucking playing a boomer shooter in that capacity.
Have you tried Ultra Kill yet?
Not that one. Like, I think I'm waiting for Hrot to finally finish its third episode before I play that one.
Fair.
No, I think the next one I have lined up is Hellbound. But I switched over to and play Mirror's Edge.
That's a name I haven't heard in years.
Well, I'm playing Dead Space 2.
Didn't they once upon a time have dreams of making that into a franchise?
It got another game, so technically it made it to the franchise brigade.
Air quotes about 3 miles.
Yeah, but that's not what you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and clearly that didn't happen. I don't know. It's like playing Dead Space 2 got me nostalgic for late 2000s EA.
Just before they went off the deep end.
And we do have a new episode of MSP planned, with or without Mac. We are assuming he's going to join us, but given the health updates that Galax have given us, we are concerned that he might have to tap out.
He may be moderately better than he was last Sunday, but
Right. I'm like,
basically, he hasn't mentioned anything in any of the chats that he would need to bow out tonight, so we're assuming he's going to be here.
Uh-huh. Though he has done that to us before. While this show is going, he's posted something in the private Discord, and it's like, oh, I have to tap out tonight. Always fun. Oh, wait, no, that's really fucking annoying. Anyway, that's the news for the week. So, merrily we go along to the interview portion of the broadcast, and joining us this week is aGlitch.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
No problem. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I just had a crazy month, but I'm getting back to date with everything. So I'm also finishing an update for the game. So I've been working quite a lot.
Okay, that's good to hear. Right. So how we like to get things started properly is we ask this question: what got you interested in video games, both on a personal and a professional level?
Oh, I wouldn't know how to answer that because I was kind of born into video games already. I started playing games when I was like 3. So the concept of a video game was already like in my mind by when I was really young. So yeah, I started playing with the wrong games already. I started playing with FPSs, the kind of like I didn't play Doom, but Doom like FPSs, those 2D FPSs.
Right.
And then everything changed when I turned 6, and then my parents gave me an N64. I was born in Argentina, where games were really expensive to buy. So by then we had Blockbuster, so I kind of rented games. So I got to try a lot of games for the console. So I think I already love games when I got my N64, but the N64 surely made me want to be a game developer for sure.
And so, once again, how did that love and passion of video games transmog into the actual creating of games?
Well, I always wanted to make something with computers, and I really found passion in programming, being a developer. And then I kind of realized that I had a lot of creativity inside of me. So it was like the perfect opportunity to be able to create worlds and characters and missions and adventures. So I really fell in love with game development.
Okay. And how long ago did you say to yourself, I'm going to make a game?
When I was really young, I wanted to make games. But when I finished high school, my family convinced me to study systems engineering because it was like more stable of a job, and they didn't know about video games. So families, they want you to get the most secure path in your life. So I was studying my career, and it was doing well, but I was getting kind of depressed because I didn't know by then, but I had a lot of creativity inside of me that I really needed to get out. And so I really got back to my original dream, to making games. I already tried making games back then with RPG Maker, with Scratch, with different engines, but I didn't have any ideas for a project. So back in 2017, I started writing the game. I came up with the idea of fighting ants I wanted to make a game where you fight a ridiculous enemy that also everyone hates. So it was a perfect idea in that sense. So yeah, the project was like a placeholder. I really wanted to make a game, but I didn't have any idea. So I started making placeholders for everything. Like that character, the main character here in the world cell started like a red square box that I didn't know how to call. And I started filling the blanks when I really got some ideas. So yeah, that's also a good advice for everyone who's getting into game development to don't try to answer every single question that you have with your games that you're writing. Place having placeholders is also fine and also helps you go forward. So.
Hey, Petty, is there a way you can turn down, like, particularly the sound effects in the game just a little bit?
Oh.
Yeah, you can do that. You can.
I would just say, since he has it playing, you can still hear the dialogue. It's not like it's completely overpowering, but it's a little bit distracting.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can turn the music and the sound effects separately.
Okay.
So yeah, you just finish the first level, then the game changes right here. It's a way to introduce the multi-genre part of the game.
Right, and from what I've read, there's like at least 4 games, sub-games, however you define that, in this package so far.
Yeah, the story with the multi-genre is that if I made a game, I really wanted to make something that will like break the mold. I'm a huge fan of game development stories, and I feel like every big game had a reason or a challenge that the game developers set up. In this case, I wanted to make an adventure that broke through the principles of game design, where the game plays in a certain way. So I wanted to make an adventure that broke how we play the game to different ways. So yeah, the game currently has 4 modes. The one you already played, Bullet Hell. This one, which is like a roguelike or a co-op shooter. Then it also has an RPG. And then it's also an RPG, and then it has like it's also a platformer. For now, it's like you will see, but it's like a mission where it's like a section within each genre. But after this is the intro episode of the game. It's gonna be a huge game, a long game. After the intro is over, the intro episode. The game breaks up into different episodes where you just play one genre. You can just pick whatever genre you feel like and move forward in the story. It's like they are different stories already altogether. So you can choose whatever you want and make your own path in that game.
Okay. And let me see here. So, where did you come up with the idea to have a game with multiple genres in it?
I don't remember quite honestly, but like I said, I wanted to make something that would break the mold, and I started making different prototypes. And the engine that I'm using, Construct 2, has an advantage for this, because every single level that you have can be a completely different game. So in that sense, it helps. And I also wanted to make something that would like you wouldn't get stuck basically when you made it. So in this case, we can just work in a level on the platformer and then switch to the roguelike, and our minds feel like fresh after we do that. It's like working on different games, so it also helps us.
And is it difficult to make all of these different and disparate games and genres, quote unquote, play nice with each other?
Yes. Quite honestly, yes. It's hard, but it's also a challenge that drives us forward. We always are coming up with solutions on how to integrate all the genres together, how to tie them together, and we always come up with fun ways to integrate them. Let me explain the team. I'm the only programmer of the game, but we also have a sound designer, an artist, and several composers and writers. And each person that works in the game has its own challenge on how to integrate the game together. So it's always fun to come up with ways to integrate it. Right now, on this update that we're working, we added weapons to the platformer. And some of the weapons are also available in the other genres. Let's say you have a bomb in the platformer, you can also use those bombs here in the roadway to open up walls or different effects. We also are adding collectibles that will be available across all the genres, so it's always fun to see how X element will be like in the other genres. So it's really fun to. In the end, it helps us move forward effectively and keeps our minds fresh to integrate it all together.
Yes, I suppose it would do that. Given all of the differences contained within. And how long has this game been in development so far?
Well, I started making the game in 2017, but I spent 2 years working all on my own. I was losing too much time with making sprites, and I left the project and then came back. I wasn't taking it super seriously. So then in 2019, I got a job just to get some funds for the game, and I hired the artist, and it started like fresh from there. We had some levels, ideas, sprites, but we kind of redid everything. So yeah, we've been working since 2019, and I think in 2 more years the project will be. The thing is, it's a really long game. I'm not worried about finishing quickly. I'm worried about finishing it correctly and working on all the adventures like I'm creating a universe. Like some characters that you see in some places will appear on other universes, and we're super worried about making all feel like a huge adventure when you combine all those elements. So yeah, we're delayed sometimes on the release date, but I think overall we want it to be more fun than to be ready sooner. So that's a decision that we made.
Okay. And according to the early access notes here, you are planning to have 2 more types of gameplay?
No, it's all the 4 genres that are available are final.
Okay.
They're just yeah.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. And how do you access the different genres in game?
Well, in this case, we started with the first level. The first level starts off the main story that all the ad companies have taken over the world. This level is like an intro to the multi-genre aspect of the game. And after we're done with 3 levels plus this one, 4 levels in total. After we're done with the intro episode, you can just choose your own path, and each path is just one genre from there. We're also going to have some like sub levels or sub areas, secret areas on each level that will have some type of challenge with another genre. But the main idea is to make a multi-genre, open genre, open world game, which is also a big challenge, but it's also more fun. So it's what matters the most.
I suppose so. And yeah, so moving away from the mechanics for a bit here, and more into the story, and the thing that this game takes the name of, the ad wars. Like, what kind of advertisements are you fighting against?
Yeah, so the story starts up with the ad companies that have taken over the world, but the ad companies have also destroyed the world. So they are in this world. You can enter the internet like it's a place you can be in. So you have to get inside the internet and destroy the ads from inside. So, but the problem is once you're inside the internet, the ads come alive. So some ads will be characters that you will see. Like there's a character in the RPG which is like a pot of like a duck plus a pot of cream, like and moisturizer. So. It's like we also create some characters based on everyday products to also make enemies for that. So, in a sense, you're not only fighting the companies which ruin the world, but you're also fighting some of the enemies. And we are also working on destroying ads themselves, like regular screens with ads, like as a collectible. We thought that it was going to be an idea to not only destroy all the enemies that are ads themselves, but also some regular ads.
Okay. And yeah, like I noticed, like some of the terminology in the game is in that ad adjacent, like you call the RPG the clickbait kingdom, for example.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering, is the goal to like destroy all advertising?
Yeah. Who doesn't want to do that?
Well, people who need to get their products out there.
Yeah, it's also like a huge parody on Metroid, where you are like a bounty hunter. You are an ad hunter. So you travel around the internet destroying ads.
Like, does your character go after, say, the classifieds in one level?
Yeah, all the worlds have those names because, well, in the case of the RPG, Clickbait Kingdom, in story-wise, is where all the newspapers are in the internet. So there's like a huge war between social media and traditional media in that place. We also try to come up with also like sub stories that will make sense modern day wise, like as a critic or as an opinion. In that case, it's all the traditional media trying to put in ads on all the newspapers, and that doesn't work out as it used to in that case. In the other worlds are called Download City, It's the roguelike world. It's a huge city where all the downloads are processed in the internet. And the main story there is that when downloads get packaged, they are somehow getting ads into them. So you start like as a detective trying to figure out where they come from. In the other world, it's called Super Premium Lands, which is a platformer, and it's like a huge parody on mobile games.
Okay. I'm honestly surprised that there's no sponsored content here.
Yeah, I know. Everyone told me that I should have real ads, but
I'm like, I don't think any real advertisers is going to want anything to do with a game called AdWords.
Yeah.
Cowards.
And if they do, then we might want to beware of what they're selling.
I think Devolver might bite, but that's about it. That's just because they're crazy.
Well, I mean, that's kind of their brand. I'm talking more about, like, crypto salesmen and shit like that. You know, anyone who's sketchy enough to look at a game called AdWords unironically, or, you know, just doesn't care what the game's going for. Like, you know, yeah, I mean, Devolver would go for it just because they're in that Adult Swim irony camp. Anyway, so who is the you that you control in this game? Like, who is this red robot-looking guy?
That guy is called Old. He also has a companion character that you will see later on. The main story started with two sides of the argument, where all the ad companies merged into a huge one that started controlling people's lives. That company used a blue logo, like Google or any other companies. So the main story goes like there were two sides to the trouble. So the people started like fighting the ad companies, and they started wearing red. That's why he's red. But the companies which have like more technology or weapons or any other advantages over regular people lost the war. The ad wars lost. So there's only one guy to fight back, which is all this guy that you're controlling. You will see how the story falls later on, but for now you're just trying to get into the internet.
Okay. And so how do things like ad blockers and VPNs factor into this game, if they do at all?
Well, it's funny that you asked that, but on the episode Download City, there are... I studied systems engineering, so I know a bit about networks. So every building in Download City is a word from network. Like the first place that you go, the first mission in Download City, you need to get an ID to enter the city, and the place is called Access Point. And where all detectives are in that city, it's called DNS. So there's also like a Discord called the Hub. So there will be lots of words that you will see in networking. And in terms of a VPN, I already told you that it's all like you died. That you're researching where the ads are in that place. The thing is, VPNs have a part in the story in the sense that nobody knows where they come from because they are using VPNs. So I try to factor as much techy things as possible in that episode.
Okay. And shifting back to more the nuts and bolts of the development process, are you building this game in Unity?
No, I'm making this game in Construct 2.
Ah, and not the engine that comes up the most on the show, but we've had some people who have worked in Construct. Like, so what made you pick that particular engine for your game development?
Well, in my case, it allowed us to make the multi-genre part easier, I would say, than other engines. It also is great for having the game be playable in Mac OS and Linux. I know it has some issues. I'm a regular programmer, so I will have known how to code it into Unity. It's not that I needed the visual coding thing that Construct offers, but I don't know. I when I started making the game, it made sense to me to have like this openness to making other genres into the same game. And yeah, it has its ups and downs, its pros and cons, but we stick with it. We don't have any major issues. It's easier to code, and most of the main mechanics of the game are already coded in. So from now on, we're just working on adding content to the game.
Okay. And what? How much of the game has been completed at this point?
At this point, we have like 3 to 4 hours of the game, and I would say it's like 15 to 20% of the game. I will say even less, but I'm not trying to oversell it. But yeah, it's gonna be a long game. The good thing is, like I said, the main mechanics are already pretty much done, which were the hardest to make. Most of the platformer levels are not done, but more than 50% done. They are not playable yet. The new update has 2 big new levels that are almost an hour each. They are filled with things to do. We have most of the platformer music, so yeah, in that sense, we are like far beyond into the development. But I would say like we are still a long way to go in the sense that we have to come up with some solutions or to design some maps as well. Some maps are really hard to design, like making a fun map in a platformer is harder to me than making one in the RPG. I don't know why, but in that case, to me it's always harder. But yeah, I'm more worried about for now getting the game into players' hands, and what I'm happy about is that they like the universe and the characters that we're making, and that's more important to me because I'm really trying to build this universe that I have in my mind.
Right. And from what I see here, this game has been out in early access for the greater part of a year. So what has been the feedback from whatever community you've managed to build up during that time?
Oh, a lot of love always. They are always really great to me. I'm super humbled by them. Literally, I want them to give me some criticism sometimes because I always I'm looking for that in the sense that I want to improve the game. But they are always really nice to me. I really can't complain. We have received a lot of love. But I think it goes both ways because we really love what we do. So I think once you pour love into something like a game, the player receives that love and it gives back. So yeah, it's been really great to release it. We are also almost finished with this new update. I'm really expecting to be releasing it soon, and I'm really excited to, because once we release something, I always look for players to how they experience the levels. So it's really fun to me, that process as a creator. So yeah.
Okay. And so again, I see from the early access notes here that you are estimating it's going to be another 2 years of development before Ad Wars is 1.0.
Yeah, I would say. The thing is, we held back on this update a little bit that we're working on, but part of the team is already done. So we are also working on the next update already. So we're stacking up a lot of content. So, and like I said, the main mechanics are pretty much done. It's like a process of just designing new maps, adding characters, and programming all the cutscenes and whatever happens. But the main base of the game is completely done, so that's really nice to have.
And will the price go up as the game gets more and more content?
Yes, yes. Right now it's like $3, I think. I always forget that price. But yeah, the main idea is to up the price a little bit once we get closer to the full version. Take it as like an early adopter's price. They also help us test the game, so yeah, it's a lot of help.
Okay. And yeah, I think that's about it for my questions. I'll see if my colleagues here have anything further for you.
I think I'm good.
I think anything I didn't get to ask might have just been because I was coughing heavily. I guess the only thing is that the multimodal gameplay reminds me a little bit of Blaster Master, and I was wondering if you were familiar with that.
I haven't played it, but I know the game.
Obviously,
yeah,
you're doing more things, and it's always the red guy, but...
Yeah, but yeah, I know the game. I haven't played it, but I want to play it someday. I've been more inspired by... This is crazy because you wouldn't think of it as like a multi-genre game, but when I was a kid, I played a lot of Banjo-Tooie, and in the Rareware games, believe it or not, you change a lot between like how to play the game, between mini games or different ways to play. Even in Banjo-Tooie, there's like an FPS mode. So yeah, I've been always inspired by games like that.
That's true.
All right. So yeah, I think we are done here. So Alpha, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule and being with us here today and talking about your game in such great detail. It's certainly been an interesting look so far, and we look forward to see how it shapes up as it gets its content updates.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. It was really fun to talk about the game, and I wanted to say that I listened to the game news because I haven't been able to keep up to game news, so I'm up to date thanks to you. So thanks for that.
No problem. Right. So the game is Ad Wars. It is currently out on Steam and itch.io, I believe. It is currently retailing for $2.99, though that price will shift some upwards sometime in the near future, or maybe far future. Don't know. Though if you want to try before you buy, there is a demo available as well. So be sure to download that today. Petty, play us to the next segment. All right, welcome to the topic of discussion for the week. This time we are talking about Sony's first state of play of 2023. They are the last of the big three to go and have, let's just call them their direct or direct-alikes. Because We didn't talk about Microsoft's developer conference thing, mainly because I missed that, and there wasn't that much interesting in that showcase except for the high-rise shadow drop.
Mm-hmm.
I guess worth noting out the gate that there was no shadow drop with this. It seems a bit of a missed opportunity there. But anyway, so what was at State of Play? Well, the answer to that is virtual reality. Because Sony's VR2 headset just launched not too long ago. So that was front and center with a whole bunch of games. Worth noting, this was also not advertised, but this ended up being a third-party State of Play. I don't think we saw any first-party Sony stuff for any platform here. Very curious, which obviously means that Sony has to be planning something first-party somewhere down the line. Don't know when, because these things don't get announced far in advance. It's more like, oh, hey, we're doing this the next day. That's literally how it goes. Anyway, so yeah, they showed off a whole bunch of VR games like the Foglands and Green Hell VR, Synapse, and Journey to the Foundation. I'm not really all that tuned into the Sony VR2 headspace, so I don't know how big of a selling point these games are.
Yeah, I don't think any of us really tuned into.
It's good that the VR headset is getting games, but from what I understand, Sony VR2 it's lacking a killer app.
Yeah. Granted, that could be said with all of VR, or at least most of VR at this point.
Well, that's due to the fact that there's not all that much in the term of resources being poured into VR. I mean, yes, there are AAA games that have VR modes attached to them, like tying it back here. I'm not sure if it was announced in the State of Play, but Gran Turismo 7 is getting VR support. But that is a VR mode in a regular ass AAA game. I think only Valve is doing the AAA VR thing.
Right.
And I'll note that
they're not even doing that much of it.
Well, that's because it takes so long to make AAA games these days.
That's true.
Hell, Half-Life Alyx was their biggest production in terms of development resources and team members and all that. And it's also worth noting that game came out 3 fucking years ago. And we haven't seen a VR game of that scale since. It's especially galling for Sony's VR2 because this thing is fucking expensive.
It's expensive and not backwards compatible with the PS4 VR stuff.
Mm-hmm. Ergo, this is why they had to cut their sales forecast in like half. I think they thought they were going to sell 2 million, but now they're going to sell like 1 million, something along those lines. Yeah, that'll do it. Because, I mean, VR, like when you sell an expensive as hell peripheral device, that tends not to sell a whole lot.
Well, the VR2 is almost as much as the entire console.
Yeah. It maybe not be the most expensive VR out there, but it just the whole, getting a PlayStation 5 and a PlayStation VR 2 headset is comparable to getting, like the top end VR for PC, standalone. Because those rigs cost like $1,000, and that's about the amount of money you're going to be spending on PlayStation VR as an initial investment. And none of these VR games have any fucking buzz on them. They exist, but nobody's talking about, say, the Foglands like they are or were about Beat Saber. As disgusting as they are, and as stupid as the metaverse is, like there's a reason why the Meta Oculus or the Rift or the Quest is leading the way in VR, because people can actually buy that.
Yep.
Anyway, moving forward, Destiny 2 got a new expansion in Lightfall. Good for it.
Yeah, basically.
It's Destiny. I don't have anything to say about it. Let's see. Indie darling Chica got a release date of March 21st, 2023. This is being hyped up because it's like the first video game production out of New Caledonia, which is a French dependency in Polynesia, if I'm remembering correctly. Or it could be Micronesia. It's somewhere in that area of the world. Probably the maybe the highlight of the show, or certainly one of them, was Enhance, the creators of Res Infinite and the Tetris Effect, are finally ready to put out a new game, which is good, because I honestly got tired of getting their press releases for, oh hey, a new version of the Tetris Effect. It's called Humanity, and this is a weird thing. Puzzle game, I assume. It's definitely a head scratcher, but that's about what that's the kind of thing I expect from the former Q Entertainment. Let's see. I suppose other big indie game news was the reemergence of Goodbye Volcano High. Now, I do remember this thing getting announced a few years ago to much fanfare, but it hit some development troubles, and I think it basically had to reset development. But the good news is it's launching this year on June 15th. I don't know, maybe in a show of how threadbare content was, we actually got a hype video of a fucking Naruto game. Naruto Cross Boruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Connections.
And the internet's pissed off about that one.
Is it?
Because it's basically all the old ones being repackaged. People were thinking it was going to be a brand new game.
I'm like, welcome to the world of today, where remasters are pretty common. Granted, once again, it's always weird when licensed games get remastered content drops. Granted, we are talking about Naruto here, who somehow, some way, still retains popularity in 2023.
Yeah.
I know I know Boruto is a thing, but Boruto is kind of supposed to be its own thing. The next generation. but never quite stepped out of the shadow of dear father in quite a number of ways, I think.
Indeed.
But yeah, like I said, I'm sure this is a decent seller and all that, but it's always weird when one of these Bandai Namco licensed things show up in one of these things. Anyway, probably the biggest news out of the conference overall was the announcement that Baldur's Gate 3 is coming to the PlayStation 5. Day and date with the 1.0 launch. I mean, the game's been out in early access since at least last year.
Something like that.
But it's hitting 1.0 in on August 31st. I'm like, I don't know why you would want to play this game on the PlayStation 5, but the option is there. Let's see, Airship Syndicate's Wayfinder show off its gameplay. Yeah, that's a thing that exists. Then Capcom took the stage as they showed off the Resident Evil 4 remake again. I believe
How many times has this game been, I guess, remade / ported?
Ported is a lot, at least like 12 or 13 times. Remade, this is actually the second time. Because I'm not exactly sure how we're defining the Resident Evil 4 VR edition.
Fair.
Because I think that might qualify under the remake banner, maybe remastering. It's certainly more than a port. I do know that. But no, this is a remake in the they're redoing all the assets and rebuilding everything from scratch. Like this is a game being built from all new assets in the RE engine. That's like the proper old school definition of a remake in video games. And so far it looks like they're retaining all of the the stuff from the original game. Some people thought that they were going to not have mercenaries in the mode or in this remake.
Why would they do that?
I don't know, especially since no, guys, that's not what they're going to lock away as DLC. They're going to lock away characters for mercenaries. They've done that before. Maybe not with mercenaries, but with other side modes of Resident Evil games. They've done this kind of thing.
I imagine it's generally more lucrative to make a mode available and then charge for stuff in it rather than.
Yeah, I'm like, we don't know what's happening with the Separate Ways edition that appeared in like the PlayStation 2 and Wii edition of the game. That may be DLC down the line. That may be included here. We do know the tone is it's keeping the tone. It's got the fucking suplex, and shit like that in it. So, if you wanted a less goofy Resident Evil, you're not getting it here. And I know that's actually a point of contention within the Resident Evil community. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, it turns out 2023 is maybe the year of survival horror remakes. Who knew? I'm not sure I'm not sure if System Shock 1 is in that heading. I think we consider that more of an in-sim than survival horror, but it could also qualify as survival horror as well. And last and certainly least, a good chunk of the state of play was dedicated to showing off Suicide Squad and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is the latest game from Rocksteady. And oh boy. Okay. Where to start with this thing? Okay. It's another live service game. And
Yep.
With superheroes, because that worked well the last time.
yeah, it's like, and yeah, people have already started digging the grave of this thing. Because yeah, it's a live service game. And you know, we're about to put the Avengers to rest. You know, and yeah, DC's stab at the genre, if you will, or whatever the fuck you want to call gas. But okay, first of all, they put out they just put out Gotham Knights, and
to say that bombed would be an understatement.
yeah, like because Warner Brothers will probably be talking about this in the entertainment news segment on MSP, but Warner Brothers had their quarterly conference call this week. And they mentioned some games. They fucking mentioned Hogwarts Legacy. Like, yeah, you want to know how good that fucking boycott went? 12 million sold.
Mm-hmm.
But that that's a discussion for another time. They did not make any mention of Gotham Knights. So not a good sign of that game. But here's kind of the problem with Gotham Knights. That was done by WB Games Montreal, who's always kind of been the second stringer when it comes to the superhero stuff. It's like they're the ones who did the Batman Arkham Origins game, aka the Arkham game that nobody wants to acknowledge exists
I
anymore.
thought that was Arkham Knights.
Arkham Knights was done by Rocksteady.
Oh, it was?
And indeed, and it's the difference. It's the difference between Suicide Squad and Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights is not in canon with the Arkham universe. This is. Like, now, I guess it's worth noting that technically speaking, this isn't a superhero gas. This is an anti-hero, or maybe straight up villain-driven game. However you want to see the Suicide Squad.
Because the heroes have turned evil.
Yeah,
for reasons.
Yeah, you want to kill the Justice League because, well, you're being forced to do it. That's kind of the Suicide Squad shtick. They don't do the things that they do because they ever want to. They're not mercenaries for hire either. I'm like, forced conscripts?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I guess less sharply, like kind of slaves, because, I don't know if they're paid, but I do know that this is all done against their will because, they have to wear exploding collars because they're convicted criminals and killers and shit like that. And they are unruly to say the least. So if they get out of line, Amanda Waller will not hesitate to blow their fucking heads off. Like, And as far as who's starring in this illustrious game, well, the Suicide Squad here is Harley Quinn, because of course, King Shark, Captain Boomerang, and I'm trying to remember who number 4 was. God. No, Deadshot. You know. And these 4 are all regulars to the Suicide Squad. They've been on at least one or maybe multiple incarnations of the Suicide Squad in the comics, or even in the movies. Like Harley Quinn was in. I want to was at least in the first Suicide Squad movie. I think King Shark was in the second. I don't think Harley Quinn was in the second because she was too busy in the Birds of Prey movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, like I said, maybe not the most eclectic mix of villains, but nobody unfamiliar to the lore of the team, as it were. Now, granted, also worth noting, in universe, they do not call themselves the Suicide Squad. They are Task Force X. Also, I would not expect the actual Justice League to be killed in this game.
Or if they are, it's not going to stick.
Yeah.
Or it's just going to be a throwaway universe where it does happen, but it doesn't matter because it's just a side universe that created explicitly for that to happen.
Technically, that's already the case here because this is like the Arkham universe, which is its own thing. That's how it works with comic books. Each world or incarnation is literally its own universe. Marvel has a whole numbering system for this. But that's a bit out of the scope here.
I guess what I mean by that is that even if it does, so what?
Right. See, also, once again, this isn't even a fresh idea in video games. This is literally what the Injustice games are built around. Granted, okay, more evil Superman, but still. So, anyway, yeah, a lot of time was spent on fucking this thing. I give it at most 2 years to live. And with that, I believe we have run out of material. So, yeah, we've come to the end of another episode of Fragments of Silicon. Coming up on the week ahead. So, on Friday, March 3rd, it's been a while since we've had a Friday show. We've had some problems with the guests there, but anyway, they have confirmed we'll be having Carl Henrik Sarkisic. It's Swedish, so my mouth is going to have a very hard time pronouncing some of this. And Andreas Goransson of Bitwave Games. Bitwave Games is one of the many tendrils of the Embracer Group. They are part of the Free Mode division, and they are actually helping fellow stablemate Tetsujin bring the Topolan shmups to Steam. Games like Truxton, Fire Shark, and of course the granddaddy of them all, Zero Wing. Though, ironically enough, the All Your Base Art Belongs to Us meme is not appropriate in the scenario because they are working with the arcade game. And that meme comes from the Genesis version.
Did the arcade have a better translation?
I don't think it had any translation. It's
fair enough.
I do know that the specific intro with cats is from the Genesis version.
Well, and then the whole mimetic thing is that it was the original thing did not have any like voicing or anything. That's all just a fan made project.
Yeah, that's from like the something awful animation thing.
Yeah, it took me a long time to realize that because I'm dumb.
Plus, the voices wouldn't have been that fucking clear on the Genesis. I mean, the Genesis was capable of doing voice samples. They were not fucking clear. This is actually relevant because this segues into our game reviews for this for next Sunday, as we'll be reviewing The World, Salamander County Public Television, Nowhere Girl, and Zero Tolerance, which is a Genesis-born FPS game with voice samples that are really garbled. And we do have a new episode of Moonhawk Studios Presents happening in about 15 minutes or so, I would say, or so, given, Mac. But anyway, until next time, I shall wish you good gaming.